Many strategies should be used to build a more productive transportation system across state lines, including investments in new technology, equipment, infrastructure, and driver training. However, state and federal government policies must also support or regulate change. In fact, government needs to drive change. What policy changes are needed to provide the nation with a powerful, effective, reliable transportation sector?
Issues of safety, issues of productivity, environmental factors, the energy use for the country, and also CO2 generations on emissions. All of these things play a role and are very important for the strategic health of the nation.
If we're looking forward to the next 20 years, 40 years as to what the freight system needs, what the country's economy needs, a starting point, we believe, needs to be the development of a national strategic freight plan.
To raise those funds, I think in the short term, we're going to have to use fuel taxes. But you can be looking at other areas. There is a proposal before Congress to implement a corridors of critical commerce plan within the United States using container fees from imports and exports as the revenue vehicle to pay for the construction of truck lanes throughout the United States. I think that's an exciting concept.
I think the short-term challenge and the long-term challenge to freight efficiency are probably the same, and that is getting the regulatory and the legislative environment on track to understand what the alternatives are, to have a clear discussion of whether it's heavier trucks, longer combination vehicles, or whether we want to add more lane miles to get it done.
There's been a lot of publicity over the last year about increasing the weights of our vehicles and the improvement in efficiencies that would do. We are against that. We do not believe that a 94,000 pound weight limit is the answer.
When we talk about the conditions for the use of LCVs and nationally or in regional emphasis, there are some situations where we should be able to find a win-win and operational strategy that would allow them to operate. Pilot studies where we would have pilot operations, demos if you will, for a limited period of time under certain conditions and situations, and then evaluating that.
We have to consider the areas where these vehicles can successfully operate, and this is in very specific routes on very high quality roads, essentially on the interstate system, and that they would not be allowed on the secondary and tertiary roads. We would also expect that the driver quality would be, some quality assurance of driver performance would be included, including the experience of the drivers.
So there's no way to be able to say 40 years from now, here's how it's going to look, because a lot of the things with technology and all those things, it's going to be a totally different environment, and we understand that. But you want to at least put the building blocks in place. The politicians are going to have to come together, and the industry groups are going to have to come together.